Greetings, Summoners, and happy Sunday. In this video, I'd like to start off by talking a little bit about some news that's going on in Japanese tabletop RPGs, specifically in the fan translation circles. There is some very interesting news coming in the following week or so regarding Sword World. I can't discuss too much about that right now, from what I know, but definitely something to keep an eye on if you're excited about more Japanese tabletop RPGs coming to the West, supporting them, whether it's, just in the community or by purchasing it. You definitely want to keep your ear on the ground for that. And a little bit about some of the, how to describe it, other projects that I've been working on, not related to Sword World, but I finished Dark Profile about a month ago, and I know it's been a minute since I recorded another video. Speaking of, that reminds me I need to write a note down to add the bookmarks to Dark Profile because I was looking at it last night and only the first chapter had bookmarks. Whoops. But what have I been working on then last month? So I've actually been working on Magic Punk, fan translation, not officially, by the way. So that's going to be coming around soon, I think. Don't really have an ETA, like a strict deadline or anything about when I'm going to get it done. It's just going to be done when it's done, like all the other things. But I've been working with a couple other people. They're in the server too, Sang and Enma, and we're basically doing like a group project on commission. And when the fan translation is done, we're going to, because Magic Punk came out June 20th, it is too early to upload a fan translation so soon, in my opinion, just in the interest of keeping these companies, and this is, even though they get, they have Kadokawa as their publisher, but they're a small outfit like many other TRPG companies in Japan. So we're going to be doing something similar to what the Sword World team does, Sword World fan translation team, and be putting that release under an embargo of sorts. It'll be not something that I'm super familiar with. I'll ask a couple people who've done a similar type of setup in the past. Basically, it's, sending a direct message with a proof of purchase from, if you bought it physical through Amazon, or if you're buying your copy off of Bookwalker, for example, you'll have order confirmation and all that kind of thing that you can DM, and then we'll just double check it and make sure that the developers are getting their fair share so close to the release of their very cool game. Maybe I should talk about Magic Punk. It'd be better for a separate video. But that's what I'm still working on, so no more SMT stuff for at least, maybe another month or so while I wrap that up and cool down between the project. I suppose that's not really a whole lot about, kind of made it sound a little graver than I intended in the beginning, saying like the news in the Japanese tabletop arena. There are more new games coming out. I think there's it's a supplement for Paw Prince in the Night, which is like a kitty cat supernatural type game. Garden Order, which is a series that I bought the full complete series of on Bookwalker, but I didn't really open it. I like the synopsis, but it's getting a 10th anniversary re-edit edition, which will be really cool. And I think there's a totally new system called Edge Flippers, and based on the title, it seems to be about crossing the boundary into another world or alternate dimension. I didn't actually go check that one out yet, but sounds cool. I wonder if it's going to be more kind of along the lines of like Unsung Duet or other games that have a really strong theme of reality versus unreality, where like bad stuff lurks and it's always trying to creep into or pull unsuspecting victims into the other side, which seems to be a very common theme in TRPGs in the past 5-ish years, I think. The fact that there's so many in that specific type of genre is interesting. They must be really popular. So let's see, moving on to the next point. A little bit about the channel, I suppose. I've always intended for this channel to be sort of about tabletop RPG news, specifically on Japanese made ones and fan translations thereof. But I've not done a very good job in disseminating that kind of information, and a lot of the stuff that I'm privy to is oftentimes, they're what ifs or they're hush hush until someone else makes an official announcement. So some of the news I don't really, I don't know, I'm not a journalist, so I'm not like breaking news and reporting per se, but I've been interested in maybe going over more in terms of other systems and just news in general, maybe upcoming releases. It's a little bit tricky because then, I feel like the assumption is like, oh, if you're talking about this, is that one you're going to fan translate? Usually the answer would be no. But then again, with Magic Punk, that was a one person wanted to commission it, and their group is pitching in. So it's not just like one guy doing it for reading material. It's people that want to play the game and want it to be done over other projects. I would have just went straight into SMT X Ragnarok. Or I was pretty far along in Infinite Fantasia, which I do intend to complete at some point. The Disgaea TRPG articles, I still have a lot to scan, but I would really like to, because almost all of those are just like 2 pages. I need to be really careful about it. But I was talking with some other people on how to structure and format like a PDF of that, because across 70 volumes, the minimum is 2 pages, but some of them go many more pages than that. So I think that in a full PDF of every single article, it would be about 200 pages. There are a lot of repeat articles. Most of those pages, actually, if I were to cut off the splash header, so to speak, like over half of the first page is just an image saying like Disgaea TRPG, what's going on in this issue, right? And it's like there's no new text, so maybe it'd be much less than 200 pages. It might even just be at 100 pages if I were to condense it, remove redundancies. But I had some really interesting conversation topics with Aquid, other people, when I was talking about specifically how to layout, format, present these things, because like making the layout's not the hard part. Translating it's not the hard part. It's the part that takes the longest, I think. But I'm not going to release like a bunch of individual 2 page articles. I feel like that'd be kind of annoying, right? It'd be better to just have them all in one big digest. Anyways, getting off topic. Infinite Fantasia, Disgaea TRPG. I know I've talked about Villainous Level 99 TRPG. That one is, I think I'm getting closer to a point where I'm starting to get a better feel for how I want the manuscript on that one to go. I've restarted it a bunch of times, not like finished it, scrapped it, started over, but like I go for so many months without having looked at it. I need to go read through the whole thing again. I need to look at where I was, where I stopped, what I was going for, and it just didn't really hit properly. And a lot of that is due to my own interest not really being in like otome games and the like. So I was outsourcing some game terms and knowledge to a few other people about how, like, in the Japanese, the love interests are referred to as capture targets, which makes sense because in dating sims, most of those love interest characters are like endings. And so you're meant to go conquer that character's route, right? Like you can twist it to be kind of nasty and be like you're conquering the character itself, but that's more of a double entendre. It's about the difficulty, I think, in getting the ending for that character, because some of them and this applies to like visual novels too. It's not just like specifically dating sims, but the routes themselves to get a specific ending to trigger the flags and avoid the things that would alter the course that you're on can be really tricky to beat, and that's where I think some of the etymological terminology comes from there. So in English, we just call them love interests, right? But for a minute, they were, I think, the very first draft, and I'm on like the fourth or fifth one. They were capturables or something. It's just tricky to be like, oh, I'm gonna make my character, and you pick a role. You can be a protagonist, a villain, background character, and to have your role, so to speak, to be capturable, just didn't really. It didn't fit the tone of the setting, right? Because like the in a video game, the capture targets are generally a little more passive. Most things will just be waiting for the player to interact with them. But when you're like the conceit of the game is that someone is isekai'd into the video game world and everything happens more naturally. So capturable makes it sound a little too passive. Whatever. I've been rambling about some nonsense, but Villainess level 99, that one's like really, really low on the back burner. I want to do more SMT X. I want to do Disgaea. I want to do Infinite Fantasia. I want to look at Utakaze again, which is the little, little people. They're like inchlings and small animal people. And the setting is very rich. It's been getting magazine entries and roll for, I mean, probably the entire time, honestly. I own all the books. I actually have a document already OCR'd with some partial translation in it. Don't like where it was going. Found a world setting term and it was like, 3 words or something. And in the Japanese, it was kind of like 1 word. The manuscript just wasn't looking good and I had only done like 10 pages of it. So I put that down, and that was back when I was probably still working on the core rulebook actually for SMT X, and I needed to just refocus and stay on SMT X because I think by that point I hadn't released a PDF or anything. And going through the process, learning how to put the PDF together, put something out there that's like done was a big accomplishment. And now that I've been doing that pretty regularly, it feels a lot better to focus on one thing. So I'm glad that I didn't stick with Utakaze back then. I think I can handle it better now that I can have a little bit of foresight in what terms need to be, how they're going to look on the page when I get to the PDF. All right, the 2 main things, which is the Sword World announcement to be announced, and the Magic Punk thing that I've been working on, and the embargo that it will be under. So if you want access to that fan translation, you will need to buy an official copy and let one of us know. It's not out yet though, so I mean you can buy it ahead of time, but there's nothing to show yet. And it's going to be probably at least 2 weeks, and that's kind of like a best case. I mean, it's like I said, no firm ETA on that. So that about sums up this video. Let me know if you want to see more videos about like upcoming release stuff. I mean, it's kind of easier to just like follow those accounts on Twitter or join one of the fan translation servers. Like the Sword World one's the biggest one, as far as I know. There's really not like a lot of news coverage to do super consistently, but if people want to know more about it, I could probably make similar short videos kind of going over what's going on, what's coming out. There's also about like Magic Punk. Let me know if you're interested in seeing videos on that. Like I know that I did the fan translation for Stellar Knights. That was finished, and I didn't make a video about it. I just had that one video where I mentioned that I had done it and I like showed it on the screen. But I mean, like I could make all kinds of videos going over, the world setting or how to play in Stellar Knight, which is a really cool system. But that should be the wrap up here. Thanks for watching. Sorry that the video is basically just static image. I'm just talking over it because I just don't have it in me to spend a whole lot of extra time editing and collecting graphics for things yet. Maybe if the channel gets more interest, it'll warrant kind of spending that time to make the production value go up, but it's not one of my many expertises, but let me know what you think. Thanks. Bye.